Ladies and gentlemen, it's a Saturday. We were gone for a week as this guy decided to take a vacation. But we're back. Welcome back to the Hot Tag Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, comment, share it with your friends that also like wrestling. That's what we want to talk about. Come catch us on Twitch every Saturday. If you want to get joined in the conversation, we'd like to hear from you too. I'm your host, Shake. With me, as always, is my co-host, Teddy. We got so much to talk about. This past week was crazy. We should be celebrating Wrestlemania. We should be celebrating how awesome the weekend was. But there's a dark, looming cloud, and we're honestly both a little pissed off. But before we get into the weeds, as someone said this week, in the weeds, they won't be in the weeds. But anyway, before we get there, Teddy, my man, how we doing?
I'm here, Shake. I'm feeling it. I took the day off to recuperate because I went to work I went to class on Tuesday. My plane landed on Monday. I went to class on Tuesday. Went to work on Wednesday. The rest of the week, so I'm just goddamn exhausted. So I took today, and I just been laying in bed. Literally, the only time I got out of my bed was to eat and just come over to my desk, just to film this. But man, I'm ready to talk wrestling because, like you said, we should be celebrating, and I'm somewhat celebrating. I've actually been very optimistic about the whole week. I actually just got off the phone with Zach yesterday, and he was kind of venting, and which is surprising because Zach normally is the more optimistic one and just is like, faith, and like he was venting, and I was kind of like, let's play it out. Let's see what happens. But let's get into it. Let's dive into WrestleMania because regardless of a few questionable calls, the event was spectacular. I mean, I heard Zach say night one was one of the best nights he's ever had in his life.
Yep.
Just it was magical, and I think that night, which is common what we see all the right decisions made on night one, and then night two has always been the questionable night. That night, you had Rhea Ripley defeating Charlotte in an absolutely WrestleMania classic. I mean, if people don't, and on the last episode, I had made a comment that they should main event, and I think the only reason they're in contention for main eventing was because they're girls. But and I don't want anyone to think that I think down on wrestling because of girls. I actually think the girls wrestling a lot of times steals the show. And so people aren't talking about this match in future references and comparing it to a Bret Owen, a Steamboat Macho Man, or just like any other classic match. Then it's because they're girls and they're they turned a blind eye because that match is an absolute WrestleMania classic and it should go down as one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. It should be held in the same breath as a Shawn and Kurt Angle and the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. I mean, it was that damn good that it should be held along all those WrestleMania greats we talk about. It should be held in the same candle. So we had that, and we had the great Sami Zayn story. There's a lot going on, but let's dive into it, Shake. Let's dive into it. We'll get to those parts as we go on.
Yeah, let's just hop right in. Let's start with Rhea and Charlotte because you started talking about it. So that's where we'll start. I thought I would have been okay with it main eventing night one. I get why it wasn't. The story for Sami Zayn and KO versus the Usos was a main event story. And I think if you take gender out of it, it makes complete sense. If they were men in that situation, it's the same thing. I'm sorry, you're two greats at the top right now. You're just not the top. You're like here story wise. But that match, if I'm being honest, I didn't know who was gonna win the entire time. It was back and forth. Rhea looked great. Charlotte looked great. I think there was one thing people keep pointing to. There was one not great move by Charlotte, but to be honest, I don't remember it at all because there were so many amazing things that they did.
Was it?
Someone complained about when she was going for the figure four, she screwed something up or something like that, or it looked bad. But it was something I don't even remember. It was I was like, really, that's so technical. Like, why would you even? But I said it, did I not? At WrestleMania, when was their first match? 36? In the Thunderdome?
Yeah. And that was a phenomenal match, too.
I said that stole the show at WrestleMania 36. They did it again night one at WrestleMania 39. These two women, you can talk about the four horsewomen all you want. I'm a Becky Lynch fan. She is my favorite woman in WWE. These are the two best women in the company right now. It's Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. I think they are operating at the highest level possible in and outside of the ring. Now Charlotte's been on and off. She was injured and now she's taking a break again. I understand that. But when she's here, like she won the title from Ronda without any build and nobody said a word about it. And then she carried the title and defended it and no one said a word about it. And then Rhea Ripley comes along and she gets a revenge. She gets a revenge on WrestleMania 36 when she lost the NXT championship at that time. It was a really nice story when you look at it that way, but they didn't build it like that. They didn't talk about the WrestleMania 36 match. Maybe they mentioned it, but I honestly don't remember. And if they threw that
a few times, they mentioned it a few times, and Charlotte played it on, and Charlotte was like, "No, I didn't teach you a lesson then." She goes, "I put you in your place." She goes, "I'm going to teach you a lesson this Sunday." And I was like, ooh, Jesus. Like, I think, you know what it was? There were so many strong storylines going around that this one kind of took a backseat, but there was some great promos between the two. I'm not even going to lie. I thought there was great promos, but they just, with the overshadowing of Dominic and Ray and the Bloodline, I mean, it was just like, there was no room for it. It was just like, listen, we got two huge stories going on right now. But there was some great promos cut between the two. And Charlotte, listen, I've been calling her the Dream Crusher since the last 3 years. I've been calling Charlotte the Dream Crusher, and every year I get to WrestleMania and I root for Charlotte. Because, man, Charlotte is the game. She is the standard. She is the measuring stick for the women's division. And honestly, it could be the measuring stick for the goddamn whole division. She is that damn good. Charlotte is that damn good, and she doesn't miss a beat. She delivers every year. I mean, last year we would be talking about Ronda and Charlotte match differently if she didn't win with a big boot, but she won with a big boot. So we're like, what? But other than that, the match was phenomenal. Everybody loved the match. It was a great match. Charlotte doesn't miss a beat, and that match was so damn good. And I do believe it was in the appropriate place. And here's the I think if you put that match on last after that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens Usos match, we wouldn't have been into it as much as we would because we put a lot of heart and soul into that tag match. It wasn't a better match. It was just a more emotional match where we let it all out there. It would have been, the same effect to after Hogan and Rock went on, Chris Jericho and goddamn Triple H had to pick up the pieces, and it was just like, there's nothing left for us.
You always forget about that match. Always forget about that match.
You know what you also forget about? When Triple H and Randy Orton went on last after Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker.
Yeah, I do.
You do. And so it was an appropriate place, and man, it was just like, I was like, ooh, how do you follow that match? The only reason you could was with emotionally, and that's why the match was able to follow. And it was a great match afterwards. It was a great match, but man, that match was so good. Night one was just amazing, and like I said, Rhea, holy shit, this girl. And we got the draft coming. We'll get to that a little later.
Yeah.
I don't want the Judgment Day to get split up because did you watch SmackDown yet?
Yeah, they said they specifically mentioned that.
Yeah. Rhea walking out as the centerpiece of the Judgment Day.
Looked damn good.
She looked great. This would be the first faction led by a female with 3 dudes flanking her.
Don't forget about 2006. I can't remember the woman's name, but she was with the Basham brothers, and she was like their dominatrix when they were the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. She was the leader of the faction.
So that's forgettable. You don't even remember her name. This is unforgettable.
She is real bloody Ripley.
I mean, so we got to keep them together. But yeah, give me your take, Shake. Or did you already give your take? Was I just
on Rhea versus Charlotte? Yeah, we got through that. We can go to the next Judgment Day match since we're right in the Judgment Day. Holy shit. Dominic Mysterio. He has elevated himself to a new level. You could now say he's really, really good. I don't want to say great because he's honestly not there yet, but he's really, really good. I think right now he's still top three. I think he gets more heat than Roman at this point because people love to hate Roman. People just hate Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah. They on Friday night, Rhea's promo got overshadowed by just hate for Dom.
Yeah.
There's cheers for Rhea and hate for Dom. That match was beautiful. It was a beautiful match. The entrances, oh my god. Dom's entrance was just cool. Like, who would have thought we were saying that? Just like about Dom Mysterio, that your entrance was cool. Like, it was, you're a cool guy. You're a cool guy, Dom. You're a cool guy. Gets out with the mask on. We all go crazy. He rips it off, bro. His entrance was dope. Ray's was dope, and then the match was emotional. It was good. It was. I mean, like, this dude even threw a drink in his sister's face.
He's so good.
And then I love how I remember at one point looking over Zach going, like, are we just not doing disqualification? I'm pretty sure Ray can't whip his child with a belt in the middle of the match.
Hey, that's not part of the match. That was parenting. The ref let it go.
I loved it. I don't know what I think I recently just heard Michael Cole, the commentary from it, because I had to watch it back. I'm going to watch it back with Fred. And so, like, I think Michael Cole was going crazy, like, yeah, beat his ass. Like, I don't know what Michael Cole was doing, but, like, I heard Michael Cole had a good call on that.
Yeah, Michael Cole was great all weekend. And they need to keep...
That's a change.
They,
saying Michael Cole was great, man. Good for him.
I love Michael Cole. They need to keep not telling him everything. Right? Like, he needs to keep being surprised, because when Pat McAfee came out, there was elation in his voice. He was so excited that he was back. And, well, we can get back to that. But Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio delivered. Rey can still go, man. And Dominic looked really good. I mean, he still needs to work on the 619 or maybe come up with a different...
I think his finisher is the frog splash.
It is, but he still does the 619. Ray's finisher is not the 619, technically. It's the West Coast Pop. So...
Well, in the video games, yes.
Well, no, if you look it up. I mean, it's listed as one of his finishers, but it's not technically his finishing move. It's either the frog splash or the West Coast Pop. Because that's what he finishes with. That's how he gets the finish.
Anyway, yeah.
Technically. So, but yeah, it delivered. It was really good. And the only thing I didn't like was Ray's mask. I didn't like that.
It's in honor of the Great Muda.
Yeah, no, I get it. I thought he looked like Captain Falcon. I didn't like it. It did. I literally couldn't unsee it. I was like, oh man. But he really liked it. He was really happy with it. So I guess that's all that really matters. My opinion surely does not on that. But the match absolutely delivered. I think it over-delivered. I thought it was just going to kind of be like, okay, but it was going to be emotional. It was emotional, and it was a really good match. Dominic took leaps and bounds. And I think, the less we see him in the ring, the better. But he certainly can step up in big feuds.
He's getting better in the ring. Last night on SmackDown, he looked decent in the ring, I thought.
Oh, yeah. But, what I'm saying is the less heat we see, the less flaws we'll see. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not one of those guys that's perfect execution is going to be great every time. Not yet, anyway.
Not yet, yeah. He's 26. He just turned 26.
It seems like the way his development is going so far, how far he's come, he will get there if he keeps going. And I honestly think he's taken this a lot more seriously than he has in the past. Since he broke off from Ray, I think it's legit when he's like, I was under your shadow and I couldn't really thrive. And I don't think that, it was used as a shot and a work for the show. But I think, if he said to his dad, Dad, it's really hard for me to be my best while you're over me, I think Ray would understand that. And I think that might have been what happened. Because Dominic is thriving ever since turning on his dad.
Yeah, he's stepped into the new gear. At one point we were talking about, Dom's only here because his daddy. But now we're like, yo, if Ray left, he'd be in great hands.
No, yeah, we would be okay with that. I could see Dominic with a cheeky Intercontinental Championship run.
Speaking of Bray, why is he still here? I mean, he can definitely go, but we just put him in the Hall of Fame, and
Well,
he's
that's
still
the
here.
thing. He said to Hunter, he originally said no, first of all, because he's like, I'm not done wrestling. Like, it's not my time, man. But Hunter said, no, it's not about that. I think, like, they wanted to use it as part of the story because somebody else fell through, is my guess. Because it seemed
Dave,
really rushed and really last minute.
which is weird because Dave was saying that how he wanted to go in, and then like I know he is filming My Spy right now, My Spy 2, but
That has to be it. But my other thing was maybe they wait till fill it. You know, it's a little closer to DC where he's from. Maybe it's easier for family. I don't. That could be the one thing I would point to as to why there was no Batista in LA. But
you know that would bring tears to my heart.
yeah,
But yeah, great match with them, and I guess we'll continue on the Judgment Day, which will bring us to my first sore on the weekend. I think my sore only two. There's only two, and so Finn Balor and Edge in a Hell in a Cell match. First of all, with Finn Balor for his calf
yes,
3 weeks before Mania and was recovering and doing rehab for his calf
yep,
and recovered in 3 weeks compared to 8 weeks. And that's recovery. When they say recovery, that just means like, hey, you can go back to doing normal activities, not being a pro athlete.
right,
When they say recovering from something, that's 8 weeks to recovering to going back to walking in your kitchen normally, not being a pro athlete. But I think that's why this Hell in a Cell. I was like, why would you not take an opportunity to fight on top of it? When you have two guys who can get there and just imagine that shot. Well, I guess that makes sense. Like you're worried if Finn can make the climb.
correct,
Torn calf.
correct.
And even when he did climb this cell, it wasn't like he climbed the top rope and then jumped over real quick. It wasn't a big climb. That made sense. And then like Finn just a goddamn warrior. Like a lot. Someone should document this and really give him his dues because he also got 15 staples put into his head. And during the match.
Yep.
During the match. Not after. During. And actually, I do think they took those staples out because they needed to do a better job. Yeah. And then reapplied 100%. Staples afterwards.
Yeah.
Really sucks. You got staple. You know how they... Like, I used to think, oh, how did they do the staples? No, they take a staple gun. They close your head together, and they staple the head together. They stapled his... And then he gets up and continues the match. And then does a coup de grace from the top rope through the table when he has a calf tear. Yeah. This man is truly a demon. Like, and I'm really... and so my only struggle is that Finn lost. Like, I feel like you could have just kept regular Finn if you were going to have him lose. Like, you shouldn't have had the demon lose. The demon's on a 2 losing streak. And at least if that was the case, but I guess I get it. Maybe there were supposed to be more concertos, but he has 15 staples in his head, so keep it safe and just do one. And like if you were going to put him down, at least do like 3 concertos to say, all right, yeah, even a demon would stay down after that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the head injury was a huge issue. This match delivered. I think it over-delivered, honestly. In considering the fact that Finn did have to take a break and probably didn't go as hard as he would have because he had a torn calf, definitely a concussion, and staples in his head. Sorry, folks, you don't get hit in the head like that and not have a concussion, even if it's just mild. You got a compliment in chat here. Oh, no, yeah, I did. I sent the picture to people that were watching with me. I was like, in case you were wondering how bad it was, this is how bad it was. But now it's gone. Someone gave you a compliment saying that if Finn Balor was wearing the hat you were wearing, he would have been safe. So,
well, thank you.
But no, that match.
I seen this hat on night 2. Oh no, I seen this hat on night 2, and decided to buy it because the superstore was actually trash, and I seen the guy wearing it ahead of me and ran during the women's match to go get it, the women tag match.
Listen, I don't blame you for running out on that.
But yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
It over delivered, right? They got rid of the colored cell and brought in colored weapons. Vince was like, there needs to be color. And like it was kind of cool. And we were sitting there watching, and when Edge set up or when the purple table got set up, someone was like, "Oh, Edge is going through it." They called it, but yeah, it was really interesting to see, and it makes you wonder now what happened if Finn's calf wasn't torn. They probably would have ended up on top of that cell. Is my
I think
thought.
so. You don't miss that opportunity. Like this business is about making moments. Like you don't even have to do anything. Like just imagine giving Finn Balor the concerto on top of the cell, and then the ref counting the 1, 2, 3 up there.
Yeah, and then that's the match. Yeah, because nobody wants to see anybody off the top of the cell anymore. Like I know
No,
I don't. I don't want to see it because
I
like
do, but I
that,
do realize the ramifications of it, so I'm okay with not seeing it. But giving someone a concerto on top of the cell,
yeah, it's totally different. It's just like
yeah.
the danger potential. Like the fact that people don't die is more amazing than the fact that like they're able to hit the table. Like it's so small and it's a 30-foot drop. Shane McMahon almost died. Mick Foley almost died. Like the only time it was safe was when Rikishi got thrown into the wood chips on that truck, which
And
was
even then, he could have slammed the back of his head.
yeah, right. Like it's just I don't think we'll ever see someone come off the top of the cell anymore. For good health reasons, but no, yeah, I think that's all I really got on that match. It was awesome. Edge's entrance was great. The old
Edge's was I would have, yeah, I would have preferred it to be more like the Brood entrance, but his entrance was still great. It said Brood Edge, but it was a little different from the Brood entrance.
yeah, that's well.
But
It seemed to
I'm not
me like
complaining.
they wanted to get Gangrel and Christian, but they couldn't.
Well, they definitely can't get Christian.
Well,
But
Tony Khan said he signed something that would allow him to do that if they wanted to.
oh, shuck and ducky. Um, but like I said, my only complaint about this match was the decision. I just don't think Edge needed that win at all.
A hundred
Like it's like
percent, I agree.
Edge is he's like 48. He's on his way out the door. Like he did Edge, and the sad thing here it is. Edge didn't come back to put over talent. Is what he should have done.
Right.
He didn't come back, and he hasn't. He's beaten Seth. All he's done is say that, hey, my generation was better than yours. I can beat you in my later years.
He lost to Roman, but that was more because of Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan, and then also what? This wasn't the second time an interference by Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Like Roman couldn't even beat him clean. Like Edge, stop. You don't need to win. Like just put somebody over. We get it. Like all right, now you're like legendary status. You come back. Your generation was better. Like why did Edge need to win? Like it wasn't even a point where it's like, oh, Edge is getting revenge for them, like concertoing Beth. That was back at the Elimination Chamber. He won there, and then he won again at at WrestleMania, where Finn literally should have went over. Like you can't justify it to me. Finn should have went over. That's my only complaint. I just don't understand it. I even get the Roman victory more than I get Edge winning. Like I just don't get it. But that's it. Hey, I'm not a booker. Whatever. Finn seems like he's Finn will bounce back. Edge will go away and then come back and bury somebody else again.
That's the thing about losing to a guy like Edge or a legend like that. It doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't hurt you. Like, you just... I get it. I also think Finn Balor should have won. I picked Finn Balor to win. I think unless it's a Roman Reigns or someone like Samoa Joe, you shouldn't beat the Demon. Especially not an old, beaten up Edge. Like, whatever. It honestly does nothing bad for Finn, if we're being honest. But, yeah, it was good. It was a very, very entertaining match. And, you know, I think you mentioned the name, and we got to get to it. Night one, backtrack to Saturday. Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. You want to talk about a spectacle of a match, of just a
Over
singles
delivered.
match.
Over delivered. That's all I
A
got to say.
million% over delivered. And people keep talking about, oh, does Logan Paul belong? Should WWE re sign him? He re signed this week. He belongs. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Say what you want about Logan Paul personally, and I'll probably agree with you. But he belongs here in WWE because now he has a governing body to keep him from doing all the dumb, crazy shit he does by himself. And now he gets to be entertaining, but now has the proper guide to to push the envelope, but not go too far. Right? We all love someone that pushes the envelope, but Logan Paul tends to go too far, a lot. But in this business, he is phenomenal. His buckshot lariat might be one of the best I've ever seen. He is damn good at it. And not to reference one Mr. Phil CM Punk, who came back and said he was the greatest in the world, and every time he tried to do a buckshot lariat, literally buckled his damn knees. But I digress.
I think he's better than Kenny Omega, who is I mean, not Kenny, Hangman Adam Page. That's his finisher. I think Logan Paul's buckshot lariat is better. I hate to say it.
I agree with you. And you
I'll probably
can
get hate for it, but it is.
listen. You sit here and people talk about Logan Paul. Oh well, he has a month to train for one match, and I'm like, you've had 15 years with hundreds of thousands of matches to get ready for this match. I don't want to hear it. I get it. You're choreographing this one match and getting really good. But you were choreographing and getting really good at this moveset your whole entire career. If you want to get mad at Logan Paul for being naturally talented, I'm sorry. He's a great athlete. He's got a lot of charisma. He's easy to hate because he's a ginormous douchebag. But he's great in the ring. And I thought his entrance was just shitty enough. Actually, that's what I didn't like, was the entrance. I thought he tried to do the Shawn Michaels thing, but it was lame because it was clearly remote motorized. He wasn't actually on a zip line. I don't know. It was like the eye in the sky thing camera they do at football. I thought it was kind of lame. I thought if he was gonna do the zip line, he should have done the damn zip line. But whatever. Logan Paul's great. He came out with a prime bottle that ended up being KSI, and then Seth Rollins pulled him on the table, and Logan Paul frog splash KSI through the announce table for one of the most, which I think might have been the most viewed clip from WrestleMania weekend on the internet. I think because of Logan Paul and KSI, the marriage of those two plus WWE made it explode. But it was absolutely unbelievable. Seth Rollins' entrance was amazing. That conductor was living his absolute best life. You could have told 11-year-old him he was going to be conducting a fake orchestra of people at WrestleMania. He'd laugh. He'd be like, no, you're kidding. That never happened. Good for him. And then to come out the way Seth Rollins came out and put an exclamation point on that victory. I think Seth Rollins is going to be taken more seriously now because that statement you made where he said, if I lose to Logan Paul, he's not the joke, I am. I think that's a major turn in his character again. And I think it's a refocusing of Seth Rollins, and I'm here for it, baby. He said he wants to main event WrestleMania 40. He said it.
Spectacle. Grandeur.
Yes.
Things that WrestleMania are made out of. And this match was one of them. Logan Paul, granted, may have a month to prepare for a match. But if that's so, sometimes people still mess up with a month of preparing. Sometimes people get in their head. Sometimes it doesn't look as real in wrestling because you are so choreographed. None of those things happen. He's a professional. I can do it. He's so good that when he frog splashed KSI, he jumped without looking, so it made it look more real, like he didn't see him and still jumped. He took the water, spit it off in the air, and jumped, so that he did not see KSI, because it's clearly one thing you would say is, how do you accidentally jump on someone if Seth pulls him? He got pulled in midair. He pulled him, Logan was in the middle of his misspinning. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
And then, sorry, and then jumped, and it was so damn good. Like he literally in the middle of the misspinning jumped and frog splashed him, and didn't like it made sense. That match, then him selling that jump from the top rope and getting super kicked, and then the match was so good. And it's funny. So I was live there for that, obviously, and then like the conductor, when he first came out, he tried to get us to go, but not enough people were singing because I think we were all just a little confused. Like, you want us to sing? And then everybody was like, and then it was like, we realized you kind of need the music to get you started to do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
Well, last year they had like the choir of children that got us going.
Yeah. And so you kind of need something to get you going. Then you're like, I'm in it. Let's keep doing it. Because then we kept doing it after the music went off.
Yeah.
And so, like...
they also pumped it in, didn't they?
They did pump it in at first.
Yeah.
They didn't pump it in They pumped it in when he was conducting.
Yes.
They pumped it in, and then they didn't pump it in afterward. Let me tell you something. My ears popped several times. Like, my ears were hurting for how loud that stadium, like that crowd was on a regular, especially for Seth Rollins. That was the first time that weekend where my ears were like, ow, ow, ow. Like I was like, yo, it's so loud in here. So loud. Ridiculous. It's crazy how like that match was everything it needed to be, and I'm so glad that Seth won because I would have found it a disgrace if Seth lost.
I would have been so pissed off.
Seth delivered as he keeps delivering. Seth keeps delivering. If there are two people you can rely on for WrestleMania to deliver, it's Charlotte Flair and Seth Rollins.
You ain't wrong about that.
Pretty soon they're going to start needing to slap Mrs. and Mr. WrestleMania 2.0 on them. It's what they're going to need to start doing pretty soon.
They really do perform at that level. And I really think we need to see Seth Rollins in a main event at WrestleMania again.
Well, I sent you that picture. I'm here for it. I'm here for Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. I'm here for it. And I'm sorry, Shake, but I think Cody needs the win.
I know.
I think what we just seen this week, it felt so weird to tune in to Raw and Cody not be champion. It felt really weird, but I was like, that's how it would be in a real life sporting event. Like the people who like those that 16-0 New England Patriots team that lost to the Giants. How do you think life felt for them the next day? They're like, it just feels weird that they lost. It feels weird. That's what happens sometimes. And that's weird. This is as real as it gets in sports. That happened. We have to face the fact that he lost. But I think just like
But Roman Reigns was the 17-0 New England Patriots, and he won.
Oh, so we're like the rest of the world who would have been pissed if the New England Patriots won.
I would have been fucking livid.
We're the ones who were pissed when the New England Patriots beat the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, fair enough.
Everybody was very upset, and still to this day can't believe the Seahawks lost that game. I still can't believe they lost. But Cody Rhodes, just like Sheamus needs to be the one to finally beat Gunther, I think Cody Rhodes needs to be the one to finally beat Roman Reigns.
I think the way the story is built, 100%. I think Seth Rollins' road to another world title is through Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Because he lost 3 times to him. He can't lose again.
Yeah. I agree. But all right, let's move on to the next match.
Actually, let's stop it right there. Hold on.
That was my segue. I was gonna say that, then we'll stop it right now and then come back in.
All right, we're back.
So let's roll into another WrestleMania classic that I think I have 3 favorite matches from this weekend, and I don't know which one I liked more. They were all so damn good. Let's roll into another, which should be in held high regard as a WrestleMania classic. But sometimes triple threats don't get considered WrestleMania classics. I don't know why. They don't get the respect they deserve. Actually, this match received a 5 stars from Dave Meltzer. And now this individual who won the match is gone on to be the WWE's person who has the most 5-star matches in WWE history. and as of Dave Meltzer, the triple threat: Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. That's what it was. That's what it was the whole match. Just intensified hitting that it just brings a tear to my eye. I mean, oof. That you don't need to do a spot fest to be great at wrestling. Like, it's wrestling. You should just be hard hitting. This match, I'll take my hat off for this one. This match had me on my feet the entire time and screaming like a girl. I was on Zach's shoulder going, "Oh my god!" Like, I thought he was going to lose so many times. Like I thought 1 minute I thought Sheamus was gonna pin Drew, and another minute I thought Drew was gonna pin Sheamus, and I was just like, there was times where like Gunther's on outside the ring, and I was like, get up, like what's going on? Like I couldn't hear that. I heard like 5 chops that night, which is insane. That when I heard it, from the 200 level, which I had great seats by the way, but still, I heard from the 200 level. That was insane. And then I watched it back on TV and was just like, oh my god, those chops, those European uppercuts, forget about
brutal.
It. The European uppercuts were brutal. That match, I think it deserves the 5 stars for a triple threat. It's hard for a triple threat to get 5 stars. It's hard.
Which doesn't make any sense when you actually think about it. You think every triple threat should be a 5-star because you got 2 guys in the ring at once, one's taking a break. You think they're more fresh than these guys that are going at it for the same amount of time one-on-one. You think it'd be easier.
I think it's hard to coordinate. But also, I don't know, people are just traditionalists and they like, one-on-one matches. But man, that's my style of wrestling right there, and I loved it. And it feels like I can watch it again, and I'm going to watch it again because man, I think Gunther got out chopped by Drew McIntyre, but that's to be expected because he's lost weight. Drew is like a big beefy guy. I think Drew's chops when they chopped each other were a little louder, just a little bit. I think just a little bit, which is impressive for Gunther because Drew's definitely much thicker than him. But he held his own. But man, oh man, Gunther's big boots are the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, he looks like he's trying to put his foot through your face.
I still hate his powerbomb. I hate it so much.
I thought they looked good that day. I don't think they looked bad. Like when he powerbombed Drew McIntyre, I was like, ooh, that didn't look like it felt good.
Well, yeah, he's just, I don't know. I don't love it. I thought the match was great, though. I agree with you. The things I saw, brutality-wise, on the main roster, we've never seen something like that before. 3 men just getting after it like that. Because we've seen stiff workers, right? But we've never seen 3 stiff workers that look at each other and say, hey, you can beat the hell out of me, just don't hurt me and we'll get a beer after. That is how those 3 work. And it was unbelievable. Their chemistry together is insane. We could watch another triple threat between those 3 and no one would bat an eye at it because it's so good. Would it be essentially the same thing? Yes. But do we care? No. Put a stipulation in there. I don't know. Make it. They'll probably never do it again. But it really did deliver. 5-star, I guess. I thought it was, like, match-wise, KO and Sami Zayn versus the Usos also got 5 stars, which, like, emotionally I get it, but as far as, like, in-ring content, I was kind of meh. But I
thought it was really good. They broke an announcement table. There was some...
It was just too predictable to me. It was like... Sammy's on his own for a while, but he's not going to get pinned, and, like, he's going to do his thing, and then Kevin Owens is going to come, and he's going to do the same thing.
I thought KO was going to get the pin, and I was like, holy crap, KO's going to get the pin? That's weird, and I'm not gonna lie, from the arena, I was on my toes. I was like, yo, like this match, even though I had figured they were gonna win, I was like, oh God, like, who's gonna win this?
Well, I was like that too, but I was really tired. I was really tired. Because we were approaching midnight rapidly on the East Coast, and
Really?
yeah,
I was out of there. I was out of there at 9 o'clock. Like nine something. I forget what it was. We were like, we went to go get food afterwards because it was only 9 o'clock. It was like nine something.
yeah. It was that was a big part of it for me. I was really tired. But another thing for me was I kind of already knew who was gonna win that match.
Which one are we talking about? Because we started out with.
Yeah, I know. I was talking about KO and Sammy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, to the trip. I don't really have much else on the triple threat. It was literally like watching an 8-car pileup between human beings, but it was 3 men. It was absolutely disgusting in the best way possible.
It made me interested. It gave me more faith in Drew because I thought Drew did really good in this match.
His white gear was phenomenal, by the way.
It was. I can't wait to see a Gunther and Drew McIntyre match now. Really can't.
Well, you mentioned it, and I think that's where this is headed.
You know what I think we're gonna get?
I don't want to see Drew keep losing. Honestly, he needs to start winning again because I'm starting to not care about him. If I'm being honest with you,
I think we're gonna get a split up of titles, and I think they're bringing another title just called the World Title, and we'll keep this the WWE World Universal whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I could see Gunther and Drew wrestling for that title at WrestleMania next year.
And then we have the Universal.
And then we have Drew, and then we have Roman, Seth, and Cody for the big one.
Needs a strong word, but having 2 separate world titles is such a big deal.
Could you imagine how much respect that new title would have instantly if you have Drew and Gunther wrestling for it after Gunther just beat the Intercontinental title record?
I'd like to see a tournament for that, like they did. They used to.
That is a great idea with it like culminating at WrestleMania.
Yes, right after the Royal Rumble, you announce the tournament for the.
But that's tough because I heard the draft is going to be on May 8th, so that'd be a long time with that one brand not having a title.
That's almost a year.
It just about is a year. It's 11 months.
Yeah, so that probably doesn't work out.
But
fine, you can have the title. You can. I want no matter when it is. I want a tournament for the new championship. I don't want them to be like 2 random guys come out and say they want it. I don't care. Everybody fucking wants it. Prove it. Win a tournament.
I think a tournament would be great. But yeah, so let's move on to the next match.
That's how John Cena got his opportunity versus JBL. That's what I was trying to think of.
Which, speaking of John Cena.
Speaking of him.
WrestleMania, I no shot on his match. I thought his match was good. I felt like it under delivered a little bit. I would have liked to see an FU out of him at least one. But you know what? I think it was a good match. But for some reason, for me, it was I don't want to say worst match because there's no bad matches.
But it was
the worst match on the night.
But it was.
Oh, okay, good. We're on the same page.
It was.
Well, that's it. We can move on from that.
Listen, I don't want to because I'm a massive, massive John Cena fan. Everybody who watches that knows me, knows I'm a massive John Cena fan. Holy shit, Austin Theory's the truth. He is. I'm sorry. He was put over by John Cena now. There's no bigger stamp of approval besides The Undertaker in this business at this point in time. Okay? John Cena doesn't look great. Reminder, everybody who's watching, he is younger than Bobby Lashley and the same age as Rey Mysterio. Let that shit sink in for a minute. Okay?
2 of those guys are still going full time though, so.
But my point is I don't think John can anymore.
No.
But anyway, I digress.
And the sad part is Ray's been doing it longer than John.
Mm-hmm. This is not a shit on Cena moment, okay?
No, it's not. That's why I was going to try to move on because there's not much to say about the match.
This was, I got to see one last 5 knuckle shuffle. He thanked the crowd. He hit it. Fine. I don't know who his stylist is, but telling him to keep his hair like that is a fucking mistake. He needs to go back to his old haircut. I get it, it's not very Hollywood, but this is so much worse. I don't know, in Hollywood you can hide that a lot of the time. Like, how much are you looking at the back of someone's head in Hollywood? Like,
I feel like he's keeping it there on purpose now. Like, why?
I
That's
don't
a
know.
little rough.
Either way.
But hey, let's talk about a match. So like, Brock beat Omos. Let's move on from that. Not much to say about that. I feel like Omos should have won, but whatever.
Fuck Omos.
Yeah, we were excited. Somehow I thought other people were excited. I was just excited to see Brock. That was it. Anywho, let's talk about a match that over delivered tenfold and almost
yeah,
almost like stole a little bit from the show, like from the other competitors. I think at some point, like I think Charlotte and Rhea and Sammy and them were like, yo, we better do something here. And Seth, I think they all were like, we better do something here or else we're going to get outdone by the misfit tag teams that weren't supposed to even be on the card. We're going to get outdone by the Wrestlemania Showcase match. Like, we better do something. They put on a show that I was just like, oh my God. Everybody looked great in this match. Everybody looked great. Shout out to the real MVPs of the match, Chad Gable, Angelo Dawkins, and who else was? There was one other person I wanted to say who really did a good job, who kind of had a great moment. Chad Gable, Angelo Dawkins, and Ricochet.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Chad Gable rolled through German suplex on Braun Strowman. Actually, let's give it up to Braun Strowman for allowing Chad Gable to do that.
Yeah.
And Angelo Dawkins. He gave up the spotlight for those guys.
Which he's known to not do.
Yeah, he put over kudos to him. He did it, and Chad looked great. Then he allowed Angelo Dawkins to put him on his ass.
So, I'm laughing, and I want to take a brief detour. Did you hear Sami Zayn take an absolute shit on Braun Strowman in the press conference?
No, what happened?
So Sammy goes, he's like, I'm not one of those guys that likes to talk about himself, or he's like, did you hear Mom? He goes, oh, I didn't mean to do the accent. He's like, it just kind of came out, but he's like, I already did. He's like, you hear my music tonight? You hear that pop out there? And he was talking about Braun Strowman, how he always brags about himself and shit. And Kevin Owens goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. And it was just so funny. And it's funny you mentioned that because kudos to Braun for putting someone over, because Braun doesn't like doing that. And when I tell you I went from a full seated position to up off of my feet in the air when Angelo Dawkins took out the Strowman Express, I screamed, okay, Docs, as loud as I could. That was absolutely electrifying. And I need to tip my cap to Angelo Dawkins, because we on this podcast have talked a lot about how Montez Ford is probably the future of the Street Profits by himself. And good to Montez, because he hears that. Dawkins hears that. I think Montez was like, yo, Docs, go get your moment, bro. Because even at the end of the match, Montez kind of stood back and let Dawkins get, his moment. And I thought that was really awesome for him, because it's never been against Angelo Dawkins. It's just because Montez Ford is so goddamn charismatic and entertaining. We like him so much. But God, I think everybody needs to applaud Angelo Dawkins. He needs to put some.
I forgot. He's the one who pinned.
Yes. And Montez was like, I was so, when I talk about this wasn't an emotional match by any means. It was the thrown together 8-man tag match. I was emotional because Dawkins looked amazing. He was dominant. He got the pin, not Montez. It was the Angelo Dawkins show on that Saturday, and that never happens. Good for those two, man. And I think that puts to bed all the, Street Profits got to break up. No, I think they're good. I think they like being together. I think they genuinely enjoy the Street Profits. They just need to get the right push again.
I think a draft will help them if we get two separate tag titles again.
Yes, I agree.
I'm telling you, man, him blowing up Strowman, we were just like, oh, we all lost. And then Chad Gable with the roll through German suplex. I was like, get it, Chad. Chad's a monster. And then
Shorty G, Shorty G, Shorty G.
I know. Ricochet. That should be a moment that is watched for ages. When he did that shooting star press outside the ring onto those people.
That was, yeah.
I was so pissed because when it's a 8-man tag team match like that where you got 4 different teams or a 4-way tag team match, it can be hard to see what's going on in the ring sometimes. So I look to the screen because normally I was looking down at the ring. I looked at the screen and I seen it on the screen instead of just watching it. So I said to Zach, "Did you see that? Like, and he was like, I am here right now." I said, "But were you looking at the screen?" Because unfortunately I was looking at the screen and I wish I seen that. Like. Not looking at the screen.
It could be worse. At WrestleMania 38, I missed Montez Ford front flip over the ring post. I was looking away at something. And I saw them all fall and everyone freaking out. I was like, no, what a miss!
That's how I thought. I was just like, you're right, it could have been that.
It could have been worse.
I was like, oh my God! What? I was like, that's crazy.
I think we need to stop sleeping on these, though, because we got an 8-man tag match last year at WrestleMania, and it was a fucking banger, too. Now, that had a Raw Tag Team Championship implication on it, which I think would have really beefed up this match if it was like, winner is now the #1 contender for the Undisputed Tag Titles.
They were anyway, because the Street Profits wrestled Sammy and KO the next day.
Right, yeah.
And it was supposed to be for the tag titles, but I guess Vince changed it.
Well, listen, we're at an hour. Besides the main event, what else did you want to talk about for WrestleMania? Obviously.
I think that's it.
Okay.
We'll talk about the main event, and we'll talk about the week ahead.
Yep. Okay. The main event, the Heartbreaker, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't watch it, if you live under a rock, you don't know what happened. The tribal chief, the head of the table, the reigning, defending, undisputed, universal heavyweight champion of the world, defended his title against the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Everybody and their mother thought Cody was winning. Teddy and Zach, who you all know, walked into SoFi Stadium thinking that was the night the magic was going to happen. The bloodline was going to come to an end. And it was all going to be the story we wanted. That Dusty's baby boy finally brought the title home. But it didn't happen. You want to talk about a dream crusher? Roman Reigns single-handedly ripped out the hearts of millions on Sunday night. Millions.
I had never been so heartbroken and disappointed. I mean, I started jumping up on Zach's shoulder going, Zach! After he hit the second,
Crossroads.
I was like, he's gonna win! He's gonna win! I literally was shaking. I was like, he's gonna win! And then, and then I seen Paul Heyman jump on the apron, and I was like, no. And then Solo, Samoan spiked him, and I was like, no. And then it was so weird that the arena just was like, what? It was so weird that afterwards, we all sat there just looking at the ramp, Adam Pearce gonna come down and say, "Oh no, that's not how this." Is he gonna pull a Teddy Long? That's not how this is ending tonight, player. This match, I'm ordering it to be restarted. Nope, that didn't happen. We were praying. We were like, "Where's Teddy?
Pierce,
Teddy Long, get out here right now and restart this match." It wasn't just a 1, 2, 3, and you're just like. And then I shot a video. I think I sent it to you, and that's when you first seen this hat. And you're like, "That's a nice hat."
Yeah.
I was like, "He did it again! He sent us home crying." Zach was like, "I want my picture taken right now." I was like, "I can't believe it! expected him to win at WrestleMania 37. I think we wanted him to win at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I didn't want Bryan or Edge to win that.
And we didn't want him to win last year either with Brock, but like
I wanted Brock. I showed up with the title and the Brock shirt and the cowboy hat. I wanted Roman to lose so bad.
I think we wanted Brock to win. I wanted Brock to win because I was wearing a cowboy hat and I was like, oh, I guess I got to root for Brock.
I was all
I really
team
didn't
Brock.
care. This year, I legitimately cared and was like, I can't believe he won. I can't believe he won. But that was a hell of a match. Those two have great chemistry. Holy
they
shit.
do.
Like, that is actually one of the best Roman Reigns matches in years. I think in a long time.
Singles match, just straight up singles match, maybe ever.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. And I watched it back and I was like, man, this is really good. I mean, if he won, it would have put the show over the moon if he won. It would have put the show over the moon if he won, because like that, if Cody won, that match was so damn good it's not even funny. That match, Gunther's match and Charlotte's match, and really like those are my 3 favorite matches of the weekend, and I can't tell you which one I like better because they were all so damn good. They were all so damn good. Great match. I mean, my ear also popped again. I have to go get my hearing checked. I think I am losing it from that stadium where we're just singing along to Cody Rhodes' song and just whoa, like, you know, whoa. And it's like, I mean, boos and cheers for Cody Rhodes. I mean, I think we all lost it when he started doing the dusty jabs. We were like, it was so good. It was magical. It was a magical night. It was a magical night.
I was sitting there. I was calling my shots at the end of that match, too. I was like, he has to hit a bionic elbow if he's going to win this. He has to do it. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't right after. I wasn't like magic, right? But it was maybe a minute or two after he starts getting fired up. I start thinking, oh, no. Then one jab. And I'm the only one who knows in the room who knows what the bionic elbow is. Everyone thinks he's just throwing jabs. I'm like, I'm doing it with him. I'm like, oh my God, here it comes. I lost it. Nobody else knew what was going on.
WrestleMania, so it seems like you were watching with people who weren't general fans.
One person watches it, but wasn't really like isn't a big wrestling fan. I just got him into it like a few months ago. And then everybody else just used to watch as kids, so I invited them over.
How big was this show that you got random people, people who don't even follow that much coming over to watch?
That's the thing. I had 7 people there.
Jesus. So, shot to the heart.
Oh, yeah.
Shot to the heart. Shot to the heart, and you're too late. You give love a bad name.
Roman Reigns is the... Fuck him. I'm sick of it.
Bad name.
Listen, we were sitting there, and they were talking about how he hadn't been pinned in over 1,000 days and stuff like that since like December 19th. And my buddy Ray, who I just got back into wrestling, he leans over. He goes, "Who's the last person to beat him?" I said, "I'll give you 1,000 guesses. You'll never guess it." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Just give me a couple." He names off a few people. He's like, "Was it Brock Lesnar? No. Was it like Daniel Bryan? No. Was it Seth Rollins? No. What about and he named somebody else. I can't remember. I was like, "You're never gonna guess it, so I'll tell you." Baron Corbin. The last man to pin Roman Reigns on his back for 3 seconds was Baron Corbin. Let that sink in.
How far he's come. That's all we can say. How far
I don't see how he's still with the company. Like, we're talking about after Mania cuts. Like, what is happening?
I don't know. Well, I guess we can fly on to after Mania cuts and go into
the most disappointing Raw after Mania ever.
So, Raw was hijacked by Vince McMahon, who was in town, and had just announced that Endeavor, thank you, has merged with WWE. And he had torn up some last-minute plans. There were supposed to be 2 triple threats on the night. He tore them up. Omos was in catering when he found out that he had a match. Elias didn't even bring his guitar. It looks like because I don't think he came to the ring with it.
No,
Like, I think he just it was supposed to be, and then Bailey was not allowed to go out with Damage Control, and so shit was crazy. Shit hit the storm, hit the fan. I also heard that Vince did have some other says in at WrestleMania. That I heard that LA Knight and Bobby Lashley were supposed to have a segment, and I heard that was nixed.
And all we got was Bobby Lashley coming out with this trophy. No one gives a respect to Andre. No one gives
Shane
a fuck
McMahon
about.
and Pat McAfee got matches, but Bobby couldn't.
Right. And Shane tore his fucking quad, which makes a full circle McMahon family tree of the men tearing their quads.
I think it was almost a blessing because we seen Snoop Dogg do the People's Elbow, which was just classic.
Best people's elbow of all time.
It was amazing to see. But like you could have given an LA Knight a match against. You could have had LA Knight come out beat the Miz, and you could have had Bobby Lashley. Like people, we would have really cheered. Like we were that normally Pat McAfee's music hits, and there's a lot better of a reaction. That reaction wasn't as good as his normal reaction because we were all kind of disappointed. We're like, oh, cool, all right, hey Pat.
I also heard that Bray Wyatt got scrapped because he leaked it. Someone like saw him in traffic and was like, Bray, why weren't you at WrestleMania tonight? And he's like, my WrestleMania is tomorrow, bro. And then we didn't see him.
I don't know, but it's crazy what's going on. But yeah, so Endeavor and WWE or Merge. Vince McMahon is chairman. He's chairman of the board. Again, of the new company. Funny because that puts Vince McMahon almost as a boss of the UFC.
Yeah.
Because Nick Khan and Dana White are CEOs of the WWE and UFC. Then it's Vince McMahon. Then it's Ari, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Who's the CEO of the big company. So Vince McMahon almost is in control of the UFC almost. It's like he is part of he's the CEO of that new company. No, he's the chairman of the board of that new company who oversees the UFC.
Yeah.
Which is a great spot for WWE, I guess. But like, so I heard there's gonna be more cuts being made. And yeah, Vince said he was willing to step down, but the Ari guy said he wouldn't allow it.
What an asshole.
But guys, good news. Vince was not at SmackDown last night.
And it showed, okay?
Yeah.
The difference between Monday and Friday was night and day. It got so bad. WWE after Monday Night Raw has a show called The Bump, right? Their YouTube chat was blown up with #FireVince.
It was because I typed in the chat while I was watching it, and I think I just was like, congratulations, Gunther. I was like, I want someone to see like people are here for Gunther. And when I was in there, all I seen was Fire Vince repeatedly, and I was like, oh god.
I think he thought he was going to come back and show people what they were missing. Like, they don't know what I did was better, so I'm going to come back on Monday. I'm going to make all these changes, and I'm going to show people that I can still do it. The show was horrible. He had Brock Lesnar come out and F5 Cody Rhodes, which makes no goddamn sense at all. Like, it was so, like, I had said to somebody that the story, multiple people, not just one person, the stories going into WrestleMania 39 were the best since maybe WrestleMania 29 in almost 10 years. These are the best storylines. When was the last time we had this many relevant storylines in one event?
I would say well before WrestleMania 29. I don't recall many great storylines going into WrestleMania.
Well, 29. That was Rock and Cena 2, and then Rock and Cena, and then wasn't that the end of the era match?
No, that was a Brock and Triple H. End of era was the year before.
Okay, so 28 then.
Yeah, I guess yeah. But it's still like, I mean, these storylines here felt, I want to say bigger. And I was a big fan of the end of the era. It felt bigger. Like, I don't know.
I honestly agree. This is the best storytelling we've got in a decade.
I mean, Ray and Dom, they have to be able to sit back. Like there's no way they didn't have a big cry afterwards. Just be like, yo, this is amazing. Like I did, Ray and Dom. In the Bloodline story, there's two parts to the Bloodline story because you factor in Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bloodline main evented both nights.
They're that big of a deal, absolutely.
Yeah, and then like the Cody Rhodes story is just so big in its own, and then you had a solid, an actual. The more we talk about it, an actual solid story in Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley.
I agree. That was
and that promo package for Finn and Edge.
Can we talk about how we never even we got through WrestleMania and never even mentioned Asuka versus Bianca?
Did you hear the story about that?
No, but I'm very interested. It went exactly how I thought it was gonna go.
Yeah. No, it's not even a story about the match, but the girl, the performer.
Oh yes, the Compton Divas, that the contortionist's mother died that morning.
That's crazy. That's so sad.
But like,
they also did a great
I
job.
tweeted about it. I was like, great on WWE for making this girl's like what could have been the worst day of her life absolutely amazing and getting to share a moment with Bianca Belair like that.
Their performance was awesome too.
It was fucking phenomenal.
So I want to just put into I loved because so like Bianca Belair, so many everybody, all girls. I've realized this. All girls love Bianca Belair. Doesn't matter race. Yeah. Doesn't matter race. All girls love Bianca Belair. There was a woman, had to be in her 30s, at least mid-30s, maybe 40s, early 40s. Bianca won, and it was like it wasn't like the weird wrestling older fans. They looked like a normal couple who was just like, yeah, like like we like wrestling, we're gonna go watch it. That's what they looked like. Bianca won, and this woman, it was like like I always put it because like she took her ponytail and like waved it in her husband's face.
Oh.
She was like. And she had a little ponytail. She waved it in her husband's face, and she's like, ah! And she won. And I was just like, that's so good because it was like, like it was like as all cultures and all races love Bianca Belair, so it was so nice to see. Like this woman, she was just like waving her, blonde hair, and her husband, and she's like, ah! He was like, I get it, because I think he was an Asuka fan.
Yeah, a lot of people wanted Asuka to win, but I said y'all need a girl. There was no story behind it, and Bianca is literally not at the level, but like she is the female version of John Cena. What she is. She don't lose, and kids absolutely love her.
Asuka. I was like,
no.
To explain that.
No,
yeah, Bianca, and like you had made a comment earlier, and I was like, I don't know about you said Charlotte and Rhea were at the top of the game of the women's division. I was like, I don't know, Bianca's she's chugging away like a train. Like, she also don't have bad matches. She doesn't,
but I think since she beat Becky at WrestleMania, I haven't cared about her at all.
And you know what? And that's the John Cena effect. Like,
I know she's just gonna win.
The kids love her to death. The girls love her.
And I think she's great. I do like Bianca. I'm not trying to say that.
It's the same group that loves John Cena. The girls and the children.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I don't think she's going anywhere. And I think she's good. I don't have an issue with Bianca. I like her. It's just like, you have to give me someone that I think can beat her for me to care about her again. Because I'm not rooting for her to lose at all.
I think we're going to get a Rhea and Bianca at WrestleMania 40. I think they're trying to save that. And now some people's arguments going, you can't do that because a lot can happen in a year. Someone can fall off steam. Someone, they can lose steam. Some people can get injured. Knock on wood, hopefully not. But if Rhea keeps running with the Judgment Day, Bianca ain't going nowhere. Her popularity ain't going nowhere. Kids and women, they love her. They love her. Yeah. Especially if Bianca loses and then somehow regains it, and it's those two at Mania next year. That's gonna be huge. I think that'll be huge.
Yeah, let's wrap up this week because I'm running out of time here.
Yeah, we're also running out of time on the screen.
Yeah,
great week of wrestling.
Yeah,
scary week of wrestling because we didn't know what happened with Control. We thought Vince was taking over. He still could. I heard Vince did. So, what is said is, as far as we know, Triple H doesn't have final say.
Right.
That has changed, and I heard Vince did send in, remotely did send in some tweaks for Friday Night SmackDown. Um, Maybe he won't stay in the weeds. Maybe he'll let it go, and Triple H will have most of the say. But then again, he just won't have the final say on big storylines. I don't know. We'll see. But that's all we can do is see what happens and be fans and hope that it's good.
Seriously. But
we were still fans leading into WrestleMania 38 when Vince was in charge. So hey.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, all we can do is hope and see how it goes. Good show this week. Lots to talk about for WrestleMania. We appreciate you guys. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.